Stephen A.,
but that's not
Mad
the
Dog
point.
and an Idiot, and Louis Riddick, those dopes are spending 20 minutes on a contract that we all know is going to get signed by September 5th. Win for Stephen A. Jones and Jerry Jones.
Who?
This is the National Football League. This isn't the National Marketing League. This isn't the National Billionaires League, although some of these guys would probably call it that, in their own private time. We're not arguing about Jerry Jones' ability to make money. He knows how to make money. This is whether or not he knows how to timely get his guys signed.
How about them Cowboys?
Angry Cowboys fan, are you down the line? Angry Cowboys fan, are you down to ride? Drop a like on the video, go ahead and subscribe.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. And Cowboys Nation, First Take finally did what I wish a number of talking heads would do. They have now put who I feel is responsible for a number of Dallas Cowboys failures on the hot seat. On this morning's episode of First Take, Molly Curum, Stephen A. Smith, Chris Mad Dog Russo, and Louis Riddick talk about the true reason why our Dallas Cowboys hadn't made it to the heights this organization has been known for in the past, and that's Super Bowl heights. So we're going to take a listen to the 3 clips I got for y'all, and y'all know what we're going to do after that. We're gonna come back and unpack this raw and uncut. So, Angry Cowboys fans, let's take a listen to what Louis Riddick had to say.
This is the National Football League. This isn't the National Marketing League. This isn't the National Billionaires League, although some of these guys would probably call it that, in their own private time. It's about winning football games. And there's a salary cap. And there's only a certain amount of salary cap space to go around for every football team. And you have to manage that. We're not arguing about Jerry Jones' ability to make money. He knows how to make money. This is whether or not he knows how to timely get his guys signed to where it allows him then the ability to go out and sign other players because he's getting them at prices that will ultimately prove to be palatable in terms of being able to then go out and afford maybe higher level players to surround those other players with. And when you were constantly waiting and saying, well, you know what? We're not going to go ahead and just set the market initially. Well, you're setting the market in the end anyway. Because what you're doing is you're having to go up and go ahead and usurp everyone else that has gotten paid. And you're having to top all of those salaries in order to just get your guy in.
Come on, Jerry Jones. Are we having to get salary cap advice from the 3- and 4-letter networks? Stephen Jones, are you really having to be schooled by how the salary cap actually operates from Louis Riddick? You know what, Cowboys Nation? I was actually in the middle of making a video about the 30-year distraction for this Dallas Cowboys club, so I guess I'll go ahead and incorporate what I was going to say in that video in this video, so you know this raw and uncut is about to be off the chain. But jumping into the second clip I got for you, Louis Riddick continues to school the audience and the Dallas Cowboys front office on how they should be handling football business down at the Star. So let's go ahead and take a listen so we can come back and talk about it. Roll the clip.
But ultimately, when you're talking about guys who play premium positions, the next guy along always comes along and tops your guy anyway. Why wouldn't you want to be at the front of the line instead of at the end of the line where you know you're going to wind up being the market leader all the time? And that isn't always because the players are just sitting there going, hey, man, we're just going to wait until the end. Well, you know what? They may be doing it now because now you've established a precedent. And if I was a player, if I was a premium player, I'd wait too. I'd wait till the very end.
Louis Riddick is absolutely correct in this assessment, Cowboys Nation. Why does the Dallas Cowboys continuously wait until the last minute to sign their premium players? Why do they go and sign players like Jake Ferguson? No offense to Jake Ferguson, but they know that they have to pay their best player on the team. Why? So that they can pay those guys and then tell Micah Parsons that there's not enough pie for him to have a slice. But Louis Riddick said he would wait, which I completely agree with, Cowboys Nation. I would wait too. And if Micah Parsons waits, that benefits him in the long run. Now, jumping to the last clip, Stephen A. Smith hits all the marks when it comes to degrading the team and the players on the team before getting to his actual point. So let's go ahead and listen to what Stephen A. had to say so we can come back and unpack this Raw and Uncut.
We fast forward to now. This is a team that ain't been to a conference championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, let alone won a Super Bowl in 30 years. Last time they won was 1995 season, January 28th, 1996 to be exact. That's the last time these dudes won a damn Super Bowl, been to a Super Bowl, been to a conference championship game, okay? And this man is sitting back and you've got one of the elite pass rushers in the game today, watching a Myles Garrett get paid, watching a TJ Watt get paid. But this brother has to wait. And what's the excuse? Well, you know what? We're trying to figure out this is worse. This is more egregious than a CeeDee Lamb. You know why? Because CeeDee Lamb may be one of the best receivers in football, and Dak Prescott clearly is not. I'm sorry, 2 playoff wins and going into his 10th year. He's the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. Go figure that one out. But the real issue here with Micah Parsons is that you're literally trying, unlike Dak, unlike CeeDee Lamb, you're trying to blame him. Like it's his fault when he's been waiting for you to sign him and you could have signed him earlier for less.
Unlike Dak, unlike CeeDee Lamb, they drug Dak and CeeDee Lamb's name out in the mud as well, Stephen A. Smith. But I have never in my entire life seen a man hate on another man's money the way Stephen A. Smith hates on Dak Prescott. But you know what? Y'all ready for this Raw and Uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. You know, Cowboys Nation, I'm going to keep it a buck. If you can't stand what a person makes, you're either their boss, which is paying them, or you're a hater who's jealous that you're not making what said player's making. Which one is it, Stephen A. Smith? Which one is it, brother? But you know what gets me, Cowboys Nation? It's when these talking heads get up there and they talk about Jerry and Steven and what Jerry and Steven are doing to Micah Parsons while also talking about this type of negotiation tactics dating back to Emmitt Smith. And they wonder why this team doesn't reach its full potential. Talking heads like Stephen A. Smith will blame it on the players that he doesn't like so he can curry favor with Jerry Jones. Y'all know they cousins, right? You know that, right? But then what gets me is fans of Cowboys Nation see all the bull crap that these players have to go through, and then they expect them to rise above all the odds and win a championship. How can they do that when you have individuals who don't have day-to-day football knowledge trying to set the boundaries for the team, trying to determine who plays and how much, who keeps great players on the bench while favoring the good players, who doesn't allow these coaches to coach these young men up, who blurs the lines of separating the hierarchy within the organization, who thinks that they can do better at Super Bowl winning than a Super Bowl winning coach? Jerry Jones. But I'm going to keep it a buck like I always do. This front office has been the ultimate barrier to success for this Dallas Cowboys team. For any Dallas Cowboys team within this 30-year span. I will take it back to even before the last Super Bowl. The moment Jerry Jones decided to move on from Jimmy Johnson is when the front office came up with this foolery that they could do what Jimmy Johnson did, but better. I'm sorry, but I don't give Jerry any compliments for winning that championship in 95 and 96 because he did it with the remnants of Jimmy Johnson's team. But since the salary cap era, this front office has put together a handful of championship quality teams, while the majority of the teams were good enough to compete for the playoffs. When was the last time that they pulled out all the stops to bring a difference maker into this building? Brandon Carr? When was the last time Jerry Jones was that maverick that everybody speaks about? When he brought Deion Sanders to the team? But the reason why I say that the front office is a distraction that continuously bars the Dallas Cowboys from succeeding at winning a championship is their ability to disregard the needs of the team while putting all the blames on the players that they provide for these coaches. The way the front office will put themselves smack dab in the middle of game plans and schemes. How it feels that they command more attention than the actual team does. How they're bigger than the star. Prime example of this is when they chose to sit Rico Dowdle in favor of Zeke Elliott when it was apparent that Rico Dowdle was edging Zeke Elliott out. How about when they wouldn't allow Cooper Rush to play the last game of the season so that they could save money? Emmitt Smith isn't the only example of this front office fumbling negotiations. We can name Zach Martin, CeeDee Lamb, DeMarcus Lawrence, expecting Jordan Lewis to take another team-friendly discount, waiting on paying CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And speaking of Dak Prescott, people complain about the number he negotiated, expecting this man to take whatever Jerry and Stephen Jones threw his way, when that's not how you negotiate contracts, Cowboys Nation. This ain't McDonald's where you take the pay that they give you. You negotiate your pay, and if the front office wants to wait and watch leaves fall, it isn't the players' fault on the number that they eventually settle on. Why do some fault the players in this situation, Cowboys Nation? And another thing that rubs me the wrong way was watching the offensive line practice to slow jams. I'm going to show y'all a clip, but I got to speed it up due to the music in the background so your boy don't get a copyright strike on his channel. But take a look at this. Now, come on. Does anybody in Cowboys Nation think that a player picked this song to listen to while they're practicing? Y'all know what this song is? Well, for those that don't know, for those that may be young, this song is called Slow Hand by the Pointer Sisters, which was released in 1979. 1979, Cowboys Nation? Brian Schottenheimer wasn't even born when this song dropped, so you know none of the players or the coaches picked this song. You mean to tell me a team who's trying to be dominant, who's trying to be physical, is going to pick the song Slow Hand to practice to? No, Cowboys Nation, they're not. That was someone outside of the players and the coaching staff who put that song on the playlist. I wonder who that was, Cowboys Nation. But I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with football, Angry? Well, I'd agree with you. What does Slow Hand have to do with football? What does slow hand have to do with practice, your football mentality? For those who didn't play football in the past, allow me to tell you how important music is when it comes to practice and preparation. When I played in 2017, I would listen to Ozzy Osbourne's Let Me Hear You Scream, Tupac's Hit 'Em Up, Ain't Never Scared by Bone Crusher. Things that got my mental into the game. Things that got my mental ready to take somebody's head off. Y'all think that slow hand is going to do that for our Dallas Cowboys? No, Cowboys Nation. So not only do the players have no autonomy over the numbers that they wear when they come to the league, they also have no say-so over the music that they listen to during practice and during the game that either gets them mentally prepared and focused or gives them a jolt between plays. Remember, Cowboys Nation, football is 20% physical and 70% mental. So if you can't even get pumped up off the music that you want to listen to or the number that you want to wear, what will make these players feel as if they're even a human being within this organization? So, Cowboys Nation, I will hold any player accountable if they screw up, but I will also hold the front office accountable when they aren't allowing this team to succeed. Some will sit back and blame the players for everything that goes wrong on this team. I'll focus my attention on the situation. If it's training camp and we see Mozzie Smith continuously getting pushed back by our O-line, then I got something to say. But the thing is, we can't blame the defense if they do not try to do anything to remedy the situation. If we go into the season as Mozzie Smith as our number one defensive tackle, that's the fault of the front office not moving to fill the gap at defensive tackle. If we're running wide receivers by committee or running backs by committee, it's the front office not wanting to spend the money on a quality running back or wide receiver. They lucked out when they got George Pickens on that trade. A great move at a cheap price, Cowboys Nation. But Angry Cowboys fan family, we want this team to succeed. We all want to see another Super Bowl within our lifetime, but these players and these coaches should not have to win in spite of their front office. They shouldn't have to win in spite of Jerry and Stephen Jones not getting deals done. And most importantly, these players should not be looked down on for negotiating the best deal for themselves and their families, because every fan would do the exact same thing in order to make sure that their family was all set. But This has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. Cowboys Nation, I know this isn't X's and O's when it has to do with football, but I feel it is truly important to the development of a real identity, a real culture, and a real philosophy. The more hands that are in the cookie jar, the less the coaches can do their job and the less the players can profit from it. But what do y'all think? Has the front office been an issue for a number of losing seasons over this past 30 years? Y'all know how we do it. We always talk about it in the comment section. But if you're digging this content and want to help chip away at our milestone for this channel, 20K, drop a like on this video and please consider sharing it with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan. If you are DC for life and continue to see how Jerry Jones sabotages this team from success, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, film breakdown, or Madden 25 or College Football 26 gameplay. You have those fans who will side with Jerry and Stephen Jones and go against the players. I'm not that dude, Cowboys Nation. I truly believe that if Jerry kept his nose out of day-to-day football operations, this team would go even further than where it's been in the last 30 years. If Stephen Jones would just work tirelessly to get these contracts done, then this team could be in a much better place going into the 2025 NFL regular season. So, hashtag let Shotty cook and make your top players your priority before you mess around and you lose them to another team that will actually treat them like top talent, the top talent that they are. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.